What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Alolan DataDex with me, TheOneIntegral. In our last episode we covered Beware, and I asked you guys which fire type from Alolan you wanted to see me cover today. It was a choice between Salazzle and Turtonator, and Salazzle won by a decent margin, so that's who we'll be covering today. But we have next episode's vote to do first, and it's a cool one. It's a choice between the two Chimera Pokemon. We have Type Null and we have Silvally. Both can be used competitively to some extent, and of course we'll see whichever one we cover, what they can do. So if you want to see Type Null covered, comment down below saying Null, and if you want to see Silvally covered, comment down below saying Silvally, and the one with most votes will be covered next episode. But for now, let's jump into Salazzle. Salazzle is a Poison Fire type Pokemon number 758 in the National Pokédex and the Toxic Lizard Pokemon. She stands at 3 foot 11 inches or 1.2 meters tall and weighs 48.9 pounds or 22.2 kilograms. She's in the Monster and Dragon Egg groups of breeding, and the male-female split for Salazzle is 100% female. There are no male Salazzles, not that we know of at least. Evolution-wise, of course, we have Salandit as the pre-evolution, and that will evolve into Salazzle starting at level 33, but only female, so any male Salandits, sorry dudes. But then the base stats for Salazzle, having a look here, you can see the highest stats are Special Attack and Speed at 111 and 117 respectively. Moving further down, basically all of the 4 stats are in 60 range, so 68 for health points down to 60 for the 2 defenses. So Salazzle, despite the good typing as we'll look at in a minute, lacks the defensive stats to use it, and it's basically a glass cannon for special attacking. Ability wise, there are 2 available. The first is Corrosion, of course, because that will allow Salazzle to poison any Pokemon, even if it's a Steel or another Poison type, which is quite powerful because that is, basically a counter to the Poison type. Beforehand it was, aha, I'm a Steel type, you can't poison me, but now you can. And the hidden ability is Oblivious, which keeps it from being infatuated or falling for any taunts, which is half decent, but Corrosion really would be the main reason to use Salazzle, so that's what we're looking at later on mostly. Type wise, as I mentioned, Poison Fire is a pretty damn good type. If we have a look at the resistances, Grass, Fire, Fighting, Poison, Bug, Ice, Steel and Fairy, and 3 out of those are they only take 25% damage basically. Grass, obviously Poison and Fire both resist it, as does Bug and as does the Fairy type, so it's a really good defensive typing. In terms of weaknesses, there are 4 here which are Water, Rock, Psychic and Ground, with Ground being a 4 times weakness, but it's still pretty good resistance wise, and of course we have Neutral from the other 6 types, but it's a pretty good typing. But of course, as I mentioned, the low defenses sort of don't allow Salazzle to make up, to make full use of this typing. But then maybe we can use the moves instead. Well, jumping in, we have a few development moves to start off. The first is level 29 Toxic. Of course, it's also a TM, so feel free to use that instead. And of course, this is a pretty standard move for Salazzle to use. Allows it to Toxic any Pokemon, so it's pretty darn good. Then we have at level 32 Nasty Plot. If you're going for a full not flash cannon, a full glass cannon build, Nasty Plot is always good to raise your special attack and make you even more powerful, so that's a definite option there. And then we have at level 51 Venom Drench, which is a nice status poison move. Now this reduces the attack, speed and special attack of any poisoned targets. Now if you're using it in a double battle, it actually does it to all of them, but of course in terms of single battles, it's if you poison your opponent, you get to lower their stats and their speed, which is really good, because of course you poison them, they're already taking damage from poison, and then you can reduce their attack and special attack and speed to make them even more useless as they slowly die. So it's basically another way to force them out of the battle, so it's pretty good. Then the TMs, first is Hidden Power at TM 10. It's obviously a variable move depending on your IVs. It could be any type. The reason why you have to use Hidden Power, fortunately, is because Salazzle really doesn't have that great an attacking move pool. She doesn't have access to many moves outside, many types outside of her stabs, so Hidden Power is really the only way to do that. Then in the TM 12 we have Taunt. Now this is combined with Venom Drench and Toxic, for example, for a nice support set, and of course it prevents the opponent from using any support moves or any status moves, so they have to attack you. This might seem like a crazy idea because you have terrible defenses to begin with, but against other support Pokemon that don't necessarily want to attack, it's pretty good because of course if it's a Ferroform, for example, it's not really going to have anything against you, so in situations like that it can be pretty nice to use. Then we have TM17 Protect, which can be used in combination with Taunt to Toxic for a nice stooly, support set, as we'll look at in a minute. Moving on though, we have actually some attacking moves finally. TM36 Sludge Bomb, pretty standard poison stab there for you, followed by TM38 Fire Blast, pretty standard fire stab as well. We're going for the more powerful version here rather than Flamethrower because we really don't have much time in battle, so we might as well go for the really hard hitting moves. And then TM90 is our last TM Substitute, which can be used again in combination with Toxic and Protect and stuff for quite a stooly set. One final move though is Heart Scale move, and that is Disable, and again we'll look at that in a second. Disable obviously is the last move used by the opponent, so it can be used in quite some interesting ways. So of course we'll have a look at that with the sets. The first one is going to be a fully attacking set. It might not be hugely used, but if you can get a nasty plot up, your speed is pretty good to basically take out a lot of Pokemon. And the second one is going to be that sort of support and stooly set as I've been talking about. So for the first one, we're going to have Corrosion as our ability, Timid as our nature, and Life Orb as our held item, with the moves being Fire Blast, Sludge Bomb, Hidden Power, and Nasty Plot. The EVs then finish up with 252 in special attack and speed, and the last 4 drizzled in health points there. So the moves, we have Fire Blast and Sludge Bomb, which are our stabs, Hidden Power, which is basically our third attacking move for coverage. In terms of what type you want to cover, you have Water, Rock, and Ground, which are 3 big weaknesses of yours, so you could think about running Rock, Grass rather, or Water to cover at least 2 of those. That's a possibility, or just go for another generic one. And then we have one final move, which is Nasty Plot. Basically what you want to do here is you want to go in, try and force a switch, so try and switch on the grass type like Ferrothorn, go in, force a switch, get a nasty plot up, and then you'll be outspeeding a majority of Pokemon with your Life Orb, with your +2 special attack, and hopefully get some decent damage off before you're killed yourself. So there isn't a huge sort of thing about this set. We've chosen Corrosion as the ability because it's probably better than Oblivious. People don't often use Infatuation, so Corrosion's just there, just because really. Timid Nature is so you can speedy and try and outspeed most things because we're very frail, but with +2 in your special attack thanks to Nasty Plot, that'll more than make up for losing out on the Modest Nature. And the Life Orb is really because we're not really that bothered about losing some health points. We're just going to do power. So that is that there really. I'm not going to focus too much on that set. We move gently on to the second set for Salazzle, which as I mentioned is more of a support set. We're going to start off in terms of moves with Substitute, then we have Disable or Protect, Toxic or Sludge Bomb, and then Taunt or Venom Drench. Ability is Corrosion again, then we chose a Timid again, and held item this time instead is a Black Sludge, which might seem quite weird. And then EV wise we're actually going for maximum health points and maximum speed with the last 4 in defense. So this is quite a different set. We're not really that bothered about attacking with this set at all, it's more just to be an annoyance to the opponent. Corrosion obviously has the ability that allows us to poison any target with Toxic, which is really quite good. So you can use that to, it's basically, any Pokemon can get Toxic down by you. In terms of the other moves though, we have Substitute, which is what you want to sort of get up. You want to get Substitute up, and then Black Sludge is slowly going to restore your health points behind that Substitute. And then while that's happening, you can Protect if you're running Protect to, take less damage. And obviously Disable is also there. So say someone decides to hit you with their most powerful move, it does 75% of their health points, you disable it, boom, and then they might not have a move to take you out the next turn, for example. So that's the bonus behind Disable. Plus, if you come up against any other support Pokemon, or a Pokemon that wants to set up, say they use Sword Stance, you can disable Sword Stance, that's their setup gone, which is obviously probably good enough for them anyway, but some moves they would want to use repeatedly, and Disable can help stop that, but Protect is the other option because that would allow you to live longer basically. Toxic or Sludge Bomb is whether you want an attacking move or whether you just want the ability to Toxic everything on the field. And then finally we have Taunt or Venom Drench. Taunt is meant if you want to use this thing as like a lead, so you can taunt people to actually attack you so they can't Stealth Rock or Spikes or whatnot, or Venom Drench is there because if you want to Toxic and then you can Venom Drench them, and they will lose their stats basically, and they will be forced to either switch out because they won't be able to do any damage to you because you're reducing all of their stats, or their offensive stats at least. So they'll be either stuck in battle with you, trying to sort of slowly weigh you down with their attacks that aren't doing as much damage as they would be, and slow you down from Toxic, or they switch out and obviously Toxic's there for later on, and you can just Venom Drench whatever comes in, and then switch out yourself. So it's pretty good there. Obviously the held item main Black Sludge, as I mentioned, because we're not really going for attacks here, we just want to live as long as possible, and hiding behind the Substitute and the Protect will hopefully allow us to do that. But of course we're not a hugely defensive Pokemon, so don't expect to live too long with this set. It really depends on the tier of course you're playing in. Likely not that huge of an effect in OU, of course lower down please, because it's just, it's good typing, but the stats just, it's very frail. So it's not going to make huge waves, but it could be annoying in some instances. So that's going to be it for Salazzle, but of course don't forget to vote for next episode's Pokemon, either type Null or Silvally. So let me know which one you'll see down below by commenting Null or Silvally. But for now, this is going to be it for me for today, so I shall be seeing you next time. Thank you for watching. Goodbye, my friends.